Street Talk and other stuff, Mike Mad Dog McNatty. Thanks for tuning in today. I love to have you welcome me into your homes. If you watch this Monday morning or any other time during the week, thanks very much. I appreciate it. You know, it gives me a lot of pleasure to be able to connect with you folks. Okay, I know some stuff you may not agree with, some stuff you may not like what I say, both on this show and in the opinion piece I do in Dan Kuntz's show. But I appreciate the fact that you listen. And another thing I really love is the fact that I'm contacted pretty frequently in the public and say, hey, I listen to you, I don't agree, but yada, yada. I really love that, you know. And if by any chance you ever have any, you know, response to me or input, if you've read one of the articles in the paper that I print every other week, you know, my email, maddog@nwI.net. More than happy to hear from you, whether you agree with me or not, because I just appreciate the ability to communicate with you as a community. I love this town. I think you know this. And I love you too. But hey, I got a really good show today. This is an interesting one. I've been talking with this gentleman for quite some time. Finally managed to be able to get him to come into the show. More an issue with my schedule than with his. But this is a good one, so I want you to stick around. So Street Talk and other stuff. If you stick around, we will be right back.
You trust the same doctor for your health and the same dentist for your smile. Trust Global Car Care to keep your vehicle running strong. We track your car's history so it gets the right care at the right time. With our 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on parts and labor, you'll drive away with confidence. Global Car Care, your automotive experts. We service all makes and models, but specialize in Sprinter vans, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW. Call or visit us today.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. Tour MosesLake.com and start your adventure today.
Settle in for summer savings on stressless furniture at Boswell's. Right now, get a $100 instant rebate for every $1,000 you spend on stressless recliners, sofas, and accessories. Plus, save $50 on stressless Laurel and Mint dining chairs or home office chairs. Shop Boswell's, 2915 Easy Street in Wenatchee.
Okay, we're back. I'm really happy to introduce to you my buddy Joe Glazinski. Joe.
Pleasure,
Thanks for
Mike.
coming on.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while. I'm glad I was able to get you in today.
Appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Okay, now look, this is a man very interesting. Okay, got an interesting life, but tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, don't go into the details of what we're going to talk about, you know, but family, education, connection with the community, background, a little bit about, tell people who Joe is.
Okay, well, a little bit about me is I was born in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I was born in New Jersey.
My father worked for the Capitol Records Corporation.
Really?
As an MIS manager.
Okay.
With a high school degree.
Okay.
And they transferred us to Southern California in the late 60s.
All right, so how old were you?
I was about 8 years old.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And so I grew up in Southern California, dude. And then
that's so cool.
Yeah, and then I started traveling to the Northwest in the 90s. I was a sponsored pilot, paragliding pilot, pro instructor, competition pilot, distributor representative. And I would travel around the Northwest for up to 3 months at a time every summer.
All right.
And then I'd look for places to relocate so I could raise a family, because I knew I didn't want to raise a family in Southern California.
Sure.
So among other locations, I visited Chelan as a world-renowned flying site, and then met a young lady. We have a son, George. He's 27,
okay,
and
good
hopefully listening, or will be, and or sometimes does. Just kidding, he's a great guy. And so I moved up here to raise a family, and I've been up in Wenatchee for about 27, 28 years now.
Okay, all right. Now you've got an interesting history as far as your mantra, your saying, okay? Not dead, still not dead is how it goes, okay? Let me get it right, all right? Where's that come from, Joe?
Well, that's one of many one-liners that I've been accused of using, but it's really relevant of late. In fact, if you take a look at my stunning hat here, right there, it says "Still Not Dead"
Still
on
not
it.
dead. Okay.
So essentially what happened was about 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with lymphoma cancer, and I didn't realize at the time I'd stopped breathing 30 times that morning.
Oh, really?
And
okay, were you just at home, or were you in
I was at home about 3:30 in the morning. My wife goes to work at a bakery, and she had left for work, and I couldn't fall back asleep. And so every time I'd fall back asleep, I'd stop breathing, and I would get a burst of adrenaline, and
you jerk awake, right?
Yeah, 30 times consecutively. I'm like, I think I'm stopping breathing when I fall asleep, and I want to sleep. I need sleep, and I think this is emergency roomable. So I drove down to the emergency room.
So you drove yourself to the ER?
Yeah, and checked in. Well, I had my food truck in the driveway, which anyway, side note. I drove my food truck down there and went to the ER on Labor Day morning, 2023, and they said, "Sir, you have a blood clot in your jugular, lymphoma cancer," and then the nice thing is they checked me in from ER to the main hospital, and they already had a bed waiting for me, and I was pre-checked in. All I had to do was walk in the door. They put me in my semi-private or private room.
And you had a clot in one of your jugular veins?
Blood clot near my jugular.
And you had no idea?
No.
Oh my gosh, okay, so.
So they pulled 0.6 of a liter of fluid out of my left lung, and that helped me breathe better. And by the way, Dr. Blood, that was the guy's name that pulled he did a great job.
But you didn't know you had lymphoma either until that time?
No, I didn't know I had cancer.
Wow.
So I was then shortly diagnosed with early stage 4 type B large cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Okay, all right.
And then I was assigned to an oncologist, Dr. Julie Smith, from here in Wenatchee, and wonderful lady and doctor.
Okay, so shout out to Dr. Smith, right? Okay.
Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you about Dr. Smith. So I went in for my consultation with her, and she said, "Joe, we're going to get you approved. We're recommending this R-CHOP chemo radiation combo, and it's going to take just 5 days or so for your insurance to approve it. But in the meantime, I want you to start taking prednisone 1 a day until then." So
that's a steroid, correct?
It's a steroid, yeah. And the prednisone decreased the lymphoma swelling, and I had a really big one under my right arm. And within 24 hours, the swelling reduced.
Really?
And I knew that the prednisone was working, so Dr. Smith just nailed it. She's a genius.
Okay, now this diagnosis and everything really was an impact on your professional and your recreational life, correct?
Sure, having cancer, going through chemo and radiation, it hits you pretty hard.
Okay, but what are you kind of well known for nationally?
Well,
this is something else that's cool about this gentleman.
I have a real passion for air sports. I know that, not to get into it, but identity is something that people are striving to have, and everybody wants to be special.
Yeah.
And for many years, many decades, mine was aviation and freedom of flight and flying and sport aviation, recreation aviation. I was never in the military. I do have 1,300 skydives. I do have 2 high mountain 200-foot, 300-foot hang gliding launches, which both resulted in crashes. So I got out of hang gliding and got into something safer, skydiving. I pulled off 3 reserve parachute deployments.
Oh, really?
One on my first free fall, and then the next 2 out of my 1,300 jumps. Within the first 100 jumps, I had 2 more reserve deployments, but I never had another reserve deployment for the next 1,200 jumps, so I figured it out.
Well, I want to ask you about that specifically. Okay, when you first started skydiving, you were doing the static line thing,
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many of those jumps did you do?
5.
You did 5. All right, and then your first free fall, your main chute failed, or
I had a weak exit. I was sitting in the airplane on the floor with my left hand on the floor jamb and my right hand on the back door jamb. And my job in this configuration was to lurch and rotate 45 degrees into the prop blast.
Okay.
Keep your head high, your arms back, your knees bent, and wait for the and then now you're in free fall, then you wave and you pull your ripcord and it comes out. But instead I just slid off the plane feebly and rolled over onto my back, and then I looked up and I saw a giant bag up above my head after I pulled the handle. I said, that's a bag lock. That means I'm supposed to pull my reserve. I remember that from the video in training. And so I grabbed my reserve handle right here, and right before I pulled it, I said, they told me if I have to pull my reserve to put my feet and knees together. So I brought my feet and knees together before I pulled.
And you were able to remember all that?
Oh,
all this going on?
You remember your training
not me. I would have panicked and I'd be dead.
Jump, maybe. So I pulled the yellow handle, and then I waited for the rest of my life. That's a joke, skydiver joke. And as I was waiting, I felt something hit my left elbow from behind, and I looked and I saw white fabric coming out between my side and my left arm. So I pulled in my arms, deciding that if I should have my feet and knees together, why not have both of my arms in? So right after that, I just waited, and then bang, the parachute opens. I look up, everything's good. I come in and land in the desert, California City. My instructor watched the whole thing from the airplane. He dives out after me.
I'm going to get sued.
He dives out after me, opens his parachute, comes swooping in and lands, starts yelling at me. I'm like, dude, didn't you see? I had a malfunction. I saved my life. So I ended up getting through.
And you kept jumping after that?
I did.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you wanted to get it right, huh?
I'm not a quitter,
Okay.
Yeah. So I was really committed to it. But I probably subconsciously caused the reserve deployment because I knew in my head that I really wanted to test my reserve, because I just wanted firsthand proof that reserve parachutes worked, and I got it on my first free fall.
I would have quit. I would have quit then and there.
Quitting is not an option.
Well, okay,
we don't quit. We don't quit.
All right, well, good for you. Okay. Now, were you you're a paraglider as well, right? Now, is that the right term, or is it hang gliding?
Paragliding pilot. Yeah, we call ourselves pilots.
All right. Which did you do first?
I did hang gliding first, then skydiving.
Okay.
I snuck in 5 base jumps during that same period that I was learning how to paraglide.
Okay. All right.
And now I've got about 3,000 paragliding flights.
Okay. Well, explain to people what base jumping is. I know what it is, but I'm not sure if many other
Well, base
people
jumping is building antenna span, which is a bridge, or earth, which is a cliff.
Right.
And basically you get to the top, have your parachute on your back, and when the conditions are suitable and the equipment is correct and the mindset is you got to be there that day, that moment, then you commit to aviation and you jump off. And
base jumping, basically jumping off a structure or a mountain or something rather than coming up
and falling. Instead of flying off of it, you fall off of it.
Now, you've seen people in the flight suits and stuff,
the squirrel suits, right?
Have you ever tried that yet? Or is that on the bucket list thing?
What was that movie? Gypsy Moths came out in like the 50s or 60s.
I remember I read the book and then saw the movie,
Right, and so that was like the first, we call them squirrel suits or wingsuit flyers, but at that point, those guys were all dying, and nobody was getting into the sport, because you couldn't get out of the sport without dying, pretty much. But eventually they figured out how to do it, and that was after I did my base jumping. So my base jumping preceded the squirrel suits as you see them now. So
you've never done it?
I've never done the squirrel suit
Ever
flying.
desired or think about it?
Yeah, of course. I'd like to get a beginner squirrel suit and go jump off a really tall cliff and with 10 seconds of free fall or longer. And
all right, well, look, but right before we go to the break, I want to ask you a base jumping trivia, okay? And I may have we had lunch going on a while
I can't wait
back.
to hear this one.
All right, so remember the Twin Towers?
Yes, of course, yeah.
A guy named Philippe Petit strung a wire between the two towers and tight-roped across.
Yeah, that's a nut job.
Crazy. And then a guy named George Willig climbed one of the towers.
Yes.
He used special equipment on his hands and feet, was able
Like
to
Spider-Man.
able to use what the window washers use to climb.
Okay.
And the cops just let him do it, okay. But there was also a person who base jumped off one of the towers.
Sure.
Do you remember who that was?
Yes, it's Owen something, isn't it?
Okay, I don't know.
Trick question.
I keep forgetting the guy's name.
I've seen photos of him kind of poised on the edge.
Yeah.
And I almost remember his name, but boy, that's just too much.
All right, well, I'm sorry. I should have known that beforehand, but I figured you might know.
I don't know
but
his full name.
All right, so we're talking with Joe Glazinski. Joe is a cancer survivor. His motto is, again, still not dead, okay? All right, but he's also a nationally known paraglider, correct?
Paragliding pilot.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's done 1,300 free fall skydiving jumps, and we're going to talk to him when we come back. We're going to take a quick break, so street talk and other stuff. You stick around, we will be right back. So.
It's the NCWLIFE Community Calendar, a presentation of Apple Valley Honda. The annual Close for the Classroom event, hosted by Serve Wenatchee Valley, will be held on Saturday, August 9th at the Columbia Grove Covenant Church in East Wenatchee. The goal is to provide 1,000 children with new clothes for the upcoming school year. Registration is ongoing and is limited to those students in the Wenatchee and Eastmont school districts. Use the QR codes to register, donate, or volunteer, or go to Serve Wenatchee Valley's website. Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 Fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether, we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Okay, I'm back talking with Joe Glazinski. Sorry.
That's okay. I've been called all kinds of names.
I know, but it's just I'm not real bright.
Glazinski. There you go.
How do you pronounce my last name?
Magnati.
There you got it. Okay, you're a better man than me, Joe.
Well, I wouldn't.
Okay, well look, in all this, all right, okay, your cancer battle, your extreme outdoor sports, that type of thing, jumping out of an airplane and having to use your reserve parachute 3 times, what have you learned? What have you learned? What's the point? How are you incorporating this into your life and expressing it with how you live your life? So.
I'd say that inner strength is the most important, valuable asset that you can have, and how you obtain that through self-esteem and successes in your life. For example, when I was a kid, I was in youth baseball, and we were the last place team. We won only one game all season, the last game, and I won the sportsmanship award.
Really?
And,
good for you.
And I remember that to this day, and I think about it not every day, but often enough, because it meant a lot to me at that time.
Sure.
And it was an indicator that I was not a quitter.
Yeah.
And then throughout life, like everybody, we have incredible challenges and adversity, and then we just feel like we're just being stomped upon.
Right.
And then it's our job to get back up every single time.
Sure.
And to show our loved ones, our family, our spouse, our children, that we're not quitters, that we have that spirit. So on that note, shameless plug, Modelo Beer, if you're looking, I got the fighting spirit.
Okay. Yeah, well, good for you. And how do you incorporate that? I mean, how do you express that in how you live and what you do?
Well, as it applies to the probably most important subject of today, my cancer survivability, is that when I faced that challenge, I had never wanted to have to do chemo my whole life.
Right.
That was like, I never said, hey, I want to do chemo, raise your hand.
Yeah, it's not the type of thing that people aspire to.
And the chemo's been around for decades, and I was pretty scared about it. But I will share with you one thing that happened that really influenced me, very positive. A local friend of mine, Pat A, I'll call him, from Wenatchee. And we've been friends for over 20 years. And Pat came up to me and said, you know, Joe, I had the same exact cancer you had 40 years ago. And my eyes popped out of my head, and I said, what did you do?
Yeah, and you didn't know that about him?
I didn't know that about him. Here he is, walking, talking 40 years later.
Sure.
I said, what did you do? And he says, I went out and bought a brand new Porsche. I said, why'd you do that? He says, because I wanted a Porsche. And then I thought about it, and I said, well, I'm not really a race car driver, but I would like a new paraglider.
Yeah.
So I had my food truck, Blue Skies Food Shack, which is what I've been operating for the last 5 years, buy me a paraglider and put my logo on it. So I did things that would help my mindset.
Yeah.
And then I did things to help my body. I took courses through a local cancer foundation called EASE.
Right.
I had support of everybody virtually, and like literally, like for example, I wanted to go paragliding, but it was November, I was on chemo, and I thought, you know, I feel good enough between chemo rounds to do it, but the only way to get up the hill is to hike, and carrying my 35-pound bag on, you know, between chemo rounds. So my friends, my pilot buddies here locally, they offered to split up my gear and haul it up the hill.
Really?
So I hiked up a mountain in Kashmir called Dog Walk. It's about 1,000 feet vertical. I carried a pack with food and water and a little oxygen meter, which, by the way, I was at 99% oxygen going up the hill. And it was a nice, cool day, so I was able to get up there no problem. And so it was about an hour to get up there, and I went flying. That really meant a lot to me.
Well, you know the song, we get by with little help from my friends.
I got a lot of songs. Speaking of which, when I would go into my chemo rounds, I would have to toughen up a little bit mentally, physically, and face the chemo beast. And so Ghetto Boys, a song from Office Space, Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster. That was my song, and I'd roll in playing that on my phone, and all my chemo doctors and nurses, they just crack up and loved it, because you got that, you know, that attitude.
Now, when you were doing your chemo sessions, was it with other people? Was it like in a group? Because a friend of mine who's gone through cancer, he got really close to the people that he was going through his treatment with. And a matter of fact, when his treatment was over, he would go back once in a while and visit with those folks. You know, well, they became, I mean, they were bonding, you know, going through the same thing, facing actual mortality and not just going through life blind. But did you ever have an experience like that with some of the folks you were?
Well, among other things, we ended up catering lunch for the chemo department, and we brought in like 60 vegan spring rolls in our peanut sauce, and fed all the nurses that were there that day. There was a number of people that sometimes I'd run into somebody I knew that was getting chemo, and maybe I was just in doing a blood test, but I was in the same room with them after I got done. And I would say, is it okay if I just sit here with you? And then you just give them encouraging news, and you support them, and you be there present, and you're lighthearted with them. So yeah, absolutely supporting each other, and through radiation and through chemo.
Okay, now you have something that's connected with the movie It's a Wonderful Life. You have kind of a philosophy that you've taken on, your version of It's a Wonderful Life. Why don't you go ahead and share that with us a little bit?
So I'm going to call that It's My Wonderful Life.
My
Wonderful Life, because I kind of knocked off the movie. When I was a kid, It's a Wonderful Life was my favorite movie. We watched it every Christmas, and it brought tears to my eyes. It was such a warm, emotional loving Christmas spirit movie. And
It's very honest and goes through a lot of different emotions and experiences that people have. So,
when I was in high school, one of my best friend's father, he was a real estate agent, he said to me, "Joe, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And nobody had ever asked me that question before, and I didn't have an answer. And out of the blue, I just said, "I want to be a loan officer."
Okay, you wanted to be George Bailey.
But I didn't know why. I didn't know why at the time I had said that. So when I got to be 20 years old, I worked at a bank. Then I got a training program with a loan company. It was when prime rate was at 18%, so there was really virtually no lending jobs. But I got into the industry and eventually started doing Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae loans through Security Pacific Bank down in LA. So I got to become a loan officer. But even at that time, I still didn't know why I wanted to be a loan officer. It wasn't until one day I was sitting at home and I had a triple epiphany.
Right.
My wife, 4 days earlier, I told her, "Honey, I'm having a hard time breathing." And she said, "Don't worry, I'll sleep on the floor beside you, and if you stop breathing, I'll wake up and save you." My wife. I've never felt more loved in my whole life. So that was epiphany number one.
Yeah.
4 days later, the phone rings off the hook. I'm flying in from Hawaii to see you. I'm coming up from Oregon to see you. I'm drop shipping supplements. I'm drop shipping books. I'm bringing over a juicer. I'm bringing over chicken soup. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these are just my friends.
Yeah.
Your friends are not supposed to be there for you like family. Family you expect, but friends are like,
Friends,
you don't know,
when
right?
the rubber hits the road, buddy.
Well, that says a lot about these friends.
Yeah.
And so I realized that my friends indeed loved me, and that was my second epiphany. So then, as I'm having my second epiphany, I went back to my first one 4 days earlier.
Sure.
But what about your wife?
Yeah.
That's the most important, arguably, person and relationship in the world to me. And so I said, wow. And then I went back further in my life because I had momentum, went back to my childhood, and I realized that I lived my own Joe Glazinski version of Joe Glazinski in It's My Wonderful Life. Right. And I just sat back on my recliner and I started to bawl.
Really?
Tears of joy, and I shouted out, I'm loved, I feel loved.
Okay, this brings up two things I want to mention. First of all, this thing about you wanting to be a loan officer, it probably was this subconscious thing where Jimmy Stewart stands there and defending what the building and loan says. Our money isn't here. Our money is in Joe's house. It's in Bill's business. It's in this person's thing. He's talking about the money isn't there. It's out there working, helping people.
Right.
And that's probably something that really, obviously really resonated with you. It might not have come up to the surface, but it was there.
Right.
And the other thing is this, is that you mentioned self-esteem. All right, somebody asked me a while back as a counselor, he says, how do you measure self-esteem without getting into platitudes? I said, well, look at the people who love you. Look at the quality they are. And think again, your wife, for example, what's her name?
Uri Wan, she's Thai.
Okay, she's Thai. Beautiful woman?
Yes.
Inside and out?
Very.
Compassionate, loving? All right, who did she pick as her life partner?
She picked me.
What does that say about you?
I'm
what
honored.
does that say about you? The friends who helped you, are they quality people?
Oh yeah.
Are they people who
surround yourself with the best?
Yeah. Are these people who are willing to transcend the bounds of friendship and actually become surrogate family?
Right.
They chose who to be their friend?
Me. Yeah.
What does that say about you?
I'm blessed.
Exactly. Okay, but it says that you're a quality person as well. Now here, I've got 5 friends. Well, 4 now. Sorry. There's 4 of us called the Rads, my Jersey buddies. These are all intelligent, capable, successful people both in life and in their businesses. And sometimes I wonder, why are these guys even friends with me? And it's the same thing I think about my wife, Rosemary. Beautiful woman, wonderful, probably the most gracious, loving, caring, empathetic human being in the world. And she chose me to be her life partner. It doesn't give me a swelled head, but it gives me an idea of reality. But
that's some humility there.
Exactly.
When you can look at yourself and say, why me? Why am I so lovable?
Exactly. But Joe, good man, okay?
Well, I do my
Proud
best.
to be your friend.
Yeah.
Glad to have you on today. But again, talking with Joe Glazinski today. Joe's a survivor. Joe's a guy who does not give up, okay? Who's got integrity. But Joe, thanks for being here.
All right.
But thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. It's July. Enjoy the summer. I will be back next week. I hope to see you then. So you have a great day. Street Talk and other stuff. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Right on.